The last thing they told me before I walked into that room was that the room didn't exist. The mission didn't exist. And after today, I wouldn't exist either. I've been in black sites. I've crossed borders on names that weren't mine. I've extracted a man that 3 intelligence agencies had already declared dead. And the only reason I'm sitting here, in front of you, telling you this, is because I never signed the paper that was supposed to make me disappear. This is the story of every rank I climbed, and what it actually costs. You have to understand who he was before any of this makes sense. 12 years of service. 3 deployments. Every evaluation, exceptional. Not reckless, disciplined. The kind of soldier who follows orders precisely because he understands exactly what's at stake if he doesn't. He had a unit. Tight. For men he'd trust with anything. Torres. Vasquez. 2 others whose names we're keeping out of this. He wasn't looking to become something more dangerous. He was just very, very good at what he did. And that's the thing nobody tells you about being exceptional in the military. Being exceptional doesn't earn you protection. It earns you visibility. And visibility, at a certain level, is the beginning of the end. 2,100 hours. Captain calls 5 men into a side room. No briefing folder. No formal orders. A tablet. Coordinates. 1 red pin on a map. No name on the structure. The instruction was almost insultingly simple. Enter. Extract 1 individual. Exit. 6-hour window. Go in clean. Come out clean. That was it. No support assets. No paper trail. No questions. The helicopter drops them 8 kilometers out. 5 men. Practice silence. The kind of silence that only exists between soldiers who've done this before. They breach. And here's where it gets strange. The man inside, the target, he's not restrained. He's not panicking. He's not running. He's sitting. Waiting. He looks up and says, I was wondering when they'd send someone I could trust. Think about that sentence for a moment. He wasn't relieved. He wasn't grateful. He was evaluating them. Contact. Fire. Torres takes a round. Keeps moving. They clear. They move. At the extraction point, a vehicle. 3 Americans inside. No military markings. No insignia. Nothing. Nobody asked questions. You don't, in that moment. The training takes over completely. File it. Move. Survive. But here's what he told me, years later. Friendly extractions don't happen at night. With no support. And no paper trail. I knew in that vehicle. This wasn't a rescue mission. It was something else entirely. I just didn't know yet what I'd been used for. They separated him from the unit at the base. 6 hours alone in a room. The man who came in wasn't military. Civilian clothes. Young. High clearance. You could tell by the way he moved. He treated soldiers the way a mechanic treats a car he's about to strip for parts. 2 hours of questions. Then, 1 question back. Who were the men in the vehicle? He wrote something in his notepad. Didn't answer. Closed it. Thanked him for his service. And left. 3 days later, the folder arrives. 7 pages. The mission, described in sanitized language. Torres's injury, not mentioned. The 3 unmarked Americans, not mentioned. And his designation? Sole participant in an unspecified training exercise. Then, the non-disclosure agreement. 30 years of silence. And clipped inside the folder, a pen. Deliberately chosen. Clean. Already uncapped. Someone sat at a desk and thought about which pen to include. This moment, your moment of signing away your story, was planned before you ever walked into that briefing room. One person asked me, did you sign it? I said no. Which makes me either the bravest person in this story, or the most foolish one. I haven't decided yet. That's the day he stopped being a soldier. That's the day he became a ghost. Not by choice. By design. After he refuses to sign, he disappears. On his own terms. No pension. No government ID. No address on any official record. 3 countries. 8 months. Documentation that, by every legal standard, shouldn't exist. His contacts are old unit members. Torres, bad shoulder, worse memory of the official record. Vasquez, quietly furious about what happened, but careful. Very careful. Some have signed. Some haven't. And the man he extracted? Still alive. Still connected to people who operate at levels most people never interact with. Here's the thing about being a ghost that nobody understands from the outside. A ghost doesn't haunt the living. A ghost collects information. Because information is the only currency that cannot be erased. Slowly, quietly, from the wreckage of his official existence. He built something. Not an organization. Not a team. A network. And nobody looks for a man who officially doesn't exist. There is a kind of freedom that only comes when the system decides you are no longer worth watching. It looks like danger. It feels like danger. But it is, in fact, the only advantage you will ever have over them. 3 years of darkness. Intelligence gathering. Trusted networks. Strategic patience. Then, the man he extracted opens a door. One name. One meeting. One new operation. But this time, no captain standing in a side room. No manila folder. No tablet with a red pin. He designs the mission. He picks the unit. He controls what gets documented and what doesn't. Torres comes back. Badge shoulder. Quietly furious. The broken badge he kept, it's not memorabilia anymore. It's a statement. Rank doesn't make you real. Results do. He went from the soldier who asks no questions to the man who decides which questions get asked at all. And the people who erased him? They start noticing the gaps he fills. The operations that couldn't be run through official channels. The outcomes that required someone with no paper trail. Someone exactly like him. That's the moment Ghost ends. That's the moment Untouchable begins. Not because he became immune to them, but because they became dependent on him. Before we get to the part they don't want on record, if this is the kind of story you came here for, subscribe. No algorithm speeches. No upload schedule. Just, if you want to hear the next one, make sure you're here when it drops. Because we don't announce what's coming. That's the point. Back to the room.
The NDA document, 5-man unit. 4 names on the page. 1 missing. I know whose name was missing. I've known for a long time. The missing soldier, not dead. Not disappeared into some foreign prison. Running the same kind of operation he was used in. But from the other side. The people who erased him. He now works for one of them. Not under them. For them. There's a difference, and that difference is everything. This is what untouchable actually means. It doesn't mean invisible. It doesn't mean protected from above. It means this. The people who could destroy you have already decided they need you more than they need you gone. That's not a rank you're given. That's a position you negotiate. From the ruins of everything they tried to take from you. But I'll tell you this. The last time I checked, that folder still had 4 names on it. And mine isn't one of them. That's the story of every rank. Ghost. Shadow. Cleaner. Handler. Architect. Untouchable. The system built him to disappear. He built himself to be indispensable. If you made it to the end of this, comment 1 word, the rank you think you'd stop at. No explanation needed. Just 1 word. And if you want the next file, you know what to do.